So today we will be answering the age-old question, what the dog doing, using mathematics. Now at first, this problem seems unsolvable using math, but if you know what you're doing, you could get an answer quite easily. So we could look at the problem, what the dog doing, and see that most of the problem is just words. But actually, the word dog can be interpreted as D of G. D of G. This is a composition of functions which can be alternatively written as d of g of x, d of g of x. Now we have a function for which we can find the value of and answer the question. D of g of x is composed of the two functions d of x and g of x. We don't know the value of d of x, but we do know that in the original video of what the dog doing, the dog uses one of its legs to reach for the mint. So the derivative of what the dog uses to do what it needs to do is the number of legs that it has at its disposal, which we can assume to be 4. So d prime, and that's just the derivative, d prime of x is going to equal 4. Since we know the derivative of d of x, we could use the antiderivative to find the value of d of x. So antiderivative of 4 is going to equal 4x plus c. We can ignore c in this problem since we're going to be converting the solution back into words. So we can assume the constant c is 0 since the final answer won't deal with numbers, which will make sense later. Now we know that d of x is equal to 4x. Equal to 4x. Well, is equal to d of x. G of x is going to equal x squared. Since it's going to be describing a position function in the shape of a parabola here, where x is time and y is position. As the dog's leg reaches in for a mint, it's reaching in for a mint, it approaches the origin, which is the mint container, and I drew a little off center, but that's going to be the origin. And then it moves away from the container as x increases. So as time goes on, it's going to move away from the container. So the position is going to take a parabolic shape. Now that we know both d of x and g of x, we can combine the functions and get that d of g of x is equal to 4x squared. To convert this into something we can understand, we need to recognize what we're looking for. The problem asks for what the dog is doing, so there can be a seemingly infinite amount of answers. Using the equation that we just came up with, though, we can reduce the amount of possible solutions to just one. In order to do so, we must separate the function into two parts. So separate the functions into two parts. Separate the function. The separation of this function is going to equal 4 and x squared. Since the function is most logically split into two parts, I won't be calling these terms, by the way, since they are just technically one term. So, but the solution is going to be composed of two words. The number 4 here is going to mean that the first word is going to have 4 letters. 4 letters. And also rhymes with 4. Rhymes with 4. There are a lot of possible solutions still, so we have to look at the second part of the function, x squared. X squared, and let me pick a different color. X squared is just x times x, or xx. As you might know, xx is also the 23rd chromosomal pair for females. So 23rd chromosome pair. There are like 4 billion female humans alive today, so we need to be a little more specific than this. The 23rd letter of the alphabet is W. So letter is W. So the second word of our potential solution is going to start with a W. However, we can't forget that the solution can also start with the letter M, since the 2 letters are congruent. See, it's just a rotation of the letter W. So we need a 4-letter word that rhymes with 4 and a word that starts with W or M to solve this problem. This part of the solution is mostly a matter of guess and check to see if the answer makes logical and grammatical sense. We know that the word your rhymes with 4, so I'm going to put it over here. Your, it rhymes with 4 and it has 4 letters. So this could be a first potential solution, or the first word to the potential solution, which we could check back later to see if it makes sense given the context of the second word we are going to pick, which is going to be mom. Mom. Mom starts with the letter M. It makes sense when paired with the word your, and is also related to the 23rd chromosomal pair, XX, since your mom is a female. So the answer to the question, what the dog doing, is your mom.